Welcome everybody to Whiskey Wednesdays. This one came quick after the long Memorial Day weekend for sure. And man, do we have a packed schedule. We got a bunch of people that we invited to make little cameo appearances today, and lots of stuff to talk about. We know we're going to run out of time, so we're going to see what all we can get in. But Dave, why don't you break down the agenda for everybody?
Yeah, absolutely. So we got some good stuff going on. We're going to start the morning. We've got Bill Cates. He's going to be
Good
joining
morning.
us.
Where are you at? In
Morning.
California or something?
The afternoon. I'm only on my sixth whiskey of the day. The afternoon. It's been a long day. So we got Bill Cates going to be joining us. We're going to be talking about referrals. We're going to be talking about the bucket plan book and coinciding that with your referral strategy. Jason shared some 421 stuff on that last time. We're going to have Mary Sturk join us. We're going to talk about hiring, career pathing, compensation. And then we're going to round out the day talking about some marketing. We're going to be talking about the pre-webinar process, the post-webinar process. We're going to share some updates. Of course, we're going to drink some good whiskey. We're going to have Rob join us, Mixmaster Rob. We're going to have both Robs, but Rob's got a nice cocktail to share with us today. And we're going to do some Q&A for anybody that has questions or wants to chat and chime in just like normal. But Jason, it's crazy to believe that 1 week from today, we got the Mastermind Collegium coming. And
yeah, it is.
Just a rock solid agenda. The amount of hours that's gone into this thing is incredible. And I know I'm super excited. We won't be having Whiskey Wednesday next Wednesday because we're going to have the Mastermind Collegium and some things that are going to go into the time slot we normally do Whiskey Wednesday. But I actually want to kick today off with a fun little poll. And so remember, in GoToWebinar, to answer the poll, if you're in full screen mode, jump out of full screen mode. But I'm going to throw this up here, speaking of Mastermind Collegiums, and just launch this poll. When do you think you're going to be comfortable traveling to in-person events again? So, you know, we're planning out a lot of training events here at Clarity, but go ahead and answer one of those by October, by December, maybe sometime this year, or potentially 1 year or more from now. Yep, the videos are gone, but you should see the poll. We've got 70% in, and so Jason, 48% said they're going to be ready by October, 11%
yeah, I see that.
December, 22% said sometime this year, and about 18% said 1 year or more from now. So interesting. It's good to see kind of where people are at, and we continue to host these trainings virtually, and that's going to be something that's going to be permanent as we go forward. But it was
good to see. Interesting. About 50-50 though. At the end of the day, it's about 50% saying by October, and then 50% saying sometime after October. Yeah.
There we go. The results are in. All right. So Rob, let's jump over to Rob, see what he's got cooking for us tonight. Rob, you with us?
Yeah, what are you drinking, Dave?
I'm on. Alana had to go to the grocery store this afternoon because, believe it or not, after this weekend I was running dry. So I wanted her to get me a bottle of Angel's Envy, but they're having a hard time bringing it in. So today I'm just drinking some Woodford.
Angel's Envy is going really fast.
Yeah, it's
I'm
crazy.
back on Gentleman's Jack.
Nice.
How's it going, everybody? Good seeing you. Happy almost official summer. I guess we got a couple more weeks until it's officially summer, but it sure feels like that way here. It's 85 today, and we're fighting turning on the air because it's been so darn cold here in Ohio. We just want to have some semblance of a spring, but so far no good. So today we're making what's called the Gold Rush, and the recipe card is in the handout as usual. It's 1.5 ounces of bourbon, and I am using Maker's Mark again. It's my go-to. It's a perfect mixing bourbon. We're using actually an ounce of orange, or I'm sorry, liqueur, which is not that hard to find if you want to spice up your liquor cabinet. And then we're doing a ½ ounce of freshly squeezed lemon juice. And I forgot my glass. I'll be right back. Today we're using a coupe glass, which was the original champagne glass. And that's changed since everybody started liking the more fluted or champagne glass. But really still great for cocktails.
That's a good shake you got there.
Thank you. I'm trying to perfect it. And then we're topping it just a little bit of a garnish with a nice cherry. So there you go. Cheers. Here's to summer. And hopefully see a lot of you guys next week at the Mastermind Collegium. And I won't be able to make a drink for you in 2 weeks because I'm hopefully going to be on vacation.
Nice. Well, enjoy your vacation. You can see up on the screen the finished product there. Looking good. And cheers to that. Let us know what everyone else is drinking. Mary said, nice job, Rob. And
Thanks,
love
Mary.
to hear what everyone else is pouring for themselves on this Whiskey Wednesday. So yeah, Jason, you're on the gentleman's jack. What's going on? How is I guess the short week so far? I normally ask you what have you been into this week, but I guess you've only been kind of at it for 2 days now. We get Bill on and talk about some referrals.
Yeah, we should get Bill on here in a moment. You know, I had a few hour meeting with the JL Smith Group today, and we're completely overhauling our compensation model. And it's been about over a year in the making that we've been, it's been one of my number one projects over the last year or so. And so today we got real close to getting it to the finish line. We're making some final customizations and tweaks. I mean, it's a big deal to change from going from a grid methodology over to where we're going over to really a base salary with a variable comp and then a stake of the profits that the team will get. But we noticed on the grid methodology, it definitely created a lot of silos and not the team atmosphere. Now, on the other hand, it was incentivizing a lot of hunting, right? And a lot of, a high performance culture. But at the end of the day, we made the decision, Brian, Jeff, and I, that going into the future of what we want to build at the JL Smith Group, we really wanted to have more of a collaborative team environment and reward everybody based on the success of the firm and the profitability of the firm, and not just the gross revenue that they're producing as lead advisors. So it was a long meeting today and pretty exhausting, but at the end of the meeting, it was great. We came together and ready to go to the next step of kind of finalizing things of putting this in motion. So a lot of people have heard about it over the last year. It's really a career path and compensation model that we've been developing. And it goes hand in hand with the Right Fit Advisor, which Mary Stirk has been spearheading. It originally came from Don Chamberlain, which is how to hire and onboard associate advisors onto your firm. And then it connects into really a third program, which is building out responsibility agreements and almost like an org chart of clear responsibilities, what everybody's doing. But that was a big focus of the last year and today. And Dave, I know we pulled a couple polls together. I'd love to get an idea because we have invested so much time and energy into these programs. Wanted to kind of get an idea of those out there how important this stuff is to you, right? And Dave, so I think we pulled together 3 polls around hiring and compensation and career pathing. Love to get some feedback on those.
Yeah, so we just pushed out the first poll. How important do you believe it is to have a career path defined for new team members who are joining your firm? Do you think it's, for you right now in your business, it's not important? Is it somewhat important, very important, or would you say it's critical where you are right
And before you vote, let me weigh in too before everybody votes. So what we're talking about of a career path is, so there's 2, one that we've developed, the other one that's in development right now. So there's 2 tracks if you think about a career path. There's an advisor track, and then there is a non-advisor track. So on the advisor track, there's 5 rungs. Starts with a client service advisor. This is like an entry-level position, and somebody may be coming in out of college, hasn't been in the industry, maybe has a business degree, maybe a CPA, degree or finance, something relevant to our industry, but they're really just starting out in their career. That's level 1 or rung 1. Rung 2 is a paraplanner. So now they have more of the experience. Maybe they've gotten the CFP course curriculum or even the designation under their belt, and they're supporting the advisor in the paraplanning role, but not yet sitting with clients. Rung number 3 is now they've made it to an advisor level, typically sitting in a second chair to the lead advisor or working with C-list clients or some B-list clients, but primarily sitting in that second chair in appointments, supporting the lead advisor and working with some of the smaller clients. And then the 4th out of the 5th rung is a lead advisor. And then finally, in the 5th rung is you're a lead advisor and you're a partner, have earned the right to an equity component, either a buy-in or a grant system into the ownership in the firm. And so those are the 5 rungs of the career path for an advisor track. And then a non-advisor track is going to be more a 3-rung system, working your way all the way up to a point where you're now a lane leader, meaning you're running one of the lanes inside of the company, inside of the firm. Maybe even you're the head of all the lanes and you're the operations manager reporting up to the owner. So that's what we're describing as a career path, to give a little bit more levity. And so really want to understand from everybody how, again, looking at the poll, how important is this to you in your business? We've worked on it over the last year. The last few months, it's been totally halted because of our new priority of virtual sales and marketing. Everything else kind of got put on hold, but yeah, let's go ahead and get the votes in. How are we doing, Dave?
Good. We're at about 63%, 65%. So people are chiming in right now. Jason, 33% are saying it's critical and 45% say it's very important. We have 18% it's somewhat important, and then 3% at not important, and just over 2/3, almost 70%. So we've got a good audience, big crowd on today. And so keep those coming in if you see the poll. It'd be great to see what everyone thinks. So it doesn't look like any more is coming in, Jason. I think we're at about 79% say it's at least very important in their business.
That's good. Well, that's good. It's validating the incredible amount of hours that I know our team and Jennifer Macker is really spearheaded a huge part of this. But so many others, it's modeled after the ensemble practice. Nice mask, Dave. Beautiful.
I have to give a shout out to John and Kathy Dowd. They made this and shipped it to me. Kathy, I'm sure Kathy made it and not John, but it's I'm sure John drank the Crown Royal and then Kathy made the mask. But look at how legit this mask is.
That is so awesome.
So
John, I'm super jealous.
Thank you for my mask, John. Tell Kathy I love it. It is perfect. It's hard to drink with it on, but I'll manage. So
That's so cool. So, Dave, before I know we're going to bring you on, Bill, here in a bit, but, while we're on this topic, it probably makes more sense to bring Mary on. She's going to join us for a few minutes because we're really excited about the Right Fit Advisor program. And she has been working like crazy on this program and has finished a key component that she's going to share with you and kind of what the next steps are and what's going to be made available to everybody to be able to start utilizing as a resource. So what's up?
Hey, how's everybody
How
doing?
you doing? Doing good.
Got my Colorado Buffaloes hat on today.
Nice. Cheers.
Thanks. You too. I'm on the water though, so not too adventurous.
Yeah. Well, there's a time zone factor too, so.
I'll catch up.
Yeah.
Well, I'm super excited about the Right Fit program, and I am really excited to share that we're going to open it for people to start working through it in the e-learning right after the Mastermind Collegium. So you'll be able to tell us at the Collegium whether or not you want to have access to it, which is super cool. So Right Fit Advisor program it has three things: hire, onboard, and train. And what we have ready now is the hire program. So, which I think is really, where it all starts, right? I mean, if you don't find the right fit hire, none of the rest of it matters. So,
no doubt.
Hey, Mary, while you're on the topic of hiring, we actually had another poll. I think this would be cool to see. I'm going to launch this. But how many people are actually looking to hire an associate advisor? In what time frame? So I'm going to go ahead and launch this one also. But looking to hire an associate advisor in the next 1 to 6 months, 6 to 12 months, or not at all? Is it not on the radar? Is it on the radar in the next half of the year, or maybe the second half from here on out? Go ahead and let's see. We got about half the audience is polled, put in. Wow, Jason, I'm actually surprised on this. This is awesome. Must be a good group of entrepreneurs we have, because only 24% aren't hiring at all so far. About half the group has voted. So, Mary, this will be certainly a very timely module and training coming out, it looks like.
That's awesome. So what's so cool about the Right Fit Advisor program on the hire side is we have thought through everything from A to Z. So the career path that Jason just talked about, all the different rungs of the ladder on that career path, we've developed hiring tools around that, qualifications for the different advisors, compensation ranges for them, the actual job ad creation that can be utilized for all of them. And I think it's just going to take your hiring to the next level. That plus all of the tools are spelled out and easy to use. So it's very comprehensive. And I have the kind of a shorter overview up for the e-learning. And then we're going to be building out each of the different pieces into an even more robust videos with it and adding some more tools as we go. So if you get started in Right Fit Advisor right after MMC and go through it, within about 4 to 6 weeks, there'll be even more information out there to continue to carry you through the hire part. And then we'll be working through onboard and train as the time comes. But we wanted to get the hire part out there because that's definitely step one.
Yeah. And it's cool because we've been working on all three of these components, but they all fit together kind of hand in glove, right? And so one component is the Right Fit Advisor, and then ultimately, it fits into this accountability chart that has all these responsibility agreements within it. Because in many cases, especially when you bring them in rung one, and even when they're still in rung two, they're going to be holding other responsibility agreements in a small firm. I mean, let's face it, in a small firm, I mean, a lot of people are wearing a lot of different hats, right? We've heard that so many times. All we've done is taken the hats and renamed them responsibility agreements and then laid out specifically what it means if you're holding that responsibility agreement. So we're going to build that out into a standalone module. So you're going to have access to all those responsibility agreements to pick and choose as to who does what, including yourself as the business owner, depending on, it doesn't matter if you have a team of you and an assistant or a full, robust 15, 20-person team. Responsibility agreements are the building blocks to a position contract that somebody owns, right? Which makes up basically what they do, right? What all the components are of what they do. But that fits right with that career path that you referenced in the Right Fit Advisor.
And I think one of the more revolutionary parts of the Right Fit Advisor program is that we've spent so much time going deep into the differences between a hunter and a farmer. And both hunters and farmers can add amazing attributes and talent to your team and can be effective at every level of the career path. But what we've done is worked with some experts, and we've created behavioral profiles for hunters and behavioral profiles for farmers. So at the onset, you decide what are you trying to hire, and then the Right Fit program is going to help you all the way through that. And we have some tests built out that you'll do specific testing that will tell you if someone benchmarks as a hunter or how closely they benchmark to a farmer. And then we've also built some testing when they get a little further in the hiring process that's called a target selling index, which basically tells you if anybody can sell something. Like, can they actually close a deal? Which I think is kind of important. Yeah, so.
And you know, Mary, to piggyback off what you were just saying, I mean, like, and you already said it, and I'm just going to reinforce it, but hunters and farmers both can close deals, the right ones, right? I mean, they're both deal closers. The difference is, though, a hunter really gets juiced up going out there, shaking hands, kissing babies, right? Getting on virtual seminars, doing live presentations, prospecting. It's like the thrill of the hunt. They enjoy that versus the farmer, like you tee them up and put an opportunity in front of them. A good farmer is going to cultivate that relationship, close that deal, close that client all day long. And I think there's like this negative, I don't know, some people are like, you know what I mean? There's almost like a negative, like a farmer's not as good as a hunter. And that's not the case at all. In many cases, a farmer is more valuable than a hunter because in some cases, the business owner wants to be the only hunter and they just want a farmer to basically be able to turn over once they go out and hunt and know that the client's going to get cultivated, taken care of, and the deal's going to get done.
Yeah. You know, Jason, last Friday I was on a coaching call with my Sandler sales coach, Jody Williamson, and he said the biggest issue is people make a mistake that there's only two categories, a hunter and a farmer, and there's actually three. There's a hunter, a farmer, and an account manager. Hunters and farmers are both great salespeople. They just sell in a different fashion. An account manager is who you do not want to put in a sales position. An account manager shouldn't be tasked with hunting or farming. They should just be doing service and management work.
Which is really what ties into that level 1 and maybe even level 2 of the advisor career path is exactly that type of position and what responsibilities they'd have. So
and really even the level 3 at the second chair. I mean, the second chair, you're there to service. That's one of the things you're doing. You're servicing that client. And so, but in many cases, some people will graduate to becoming, a farmer or hunter.
So I built the program to kind of offer 3 levels of access to it. So we wanted to have a simplified, like clean, easy checklist, follow the checklist type of process. That's what's out there now. We want to build the more robust piece of it to really, work with people who want to dig into the process even further and are really interested in this and want to understand the rationale behind the tools. And then we also wanted to have some concierge level type of service on it. So we've actually added Art Snarzik to our Mentor Connect portfolio of mentors. And he specializes in this kind of testing and in hiring and interviewing. And now he's available for mastermind members to do the Mentor Connect calls with, connected to this program. So it really does give you that extra boost. If you want personalized help with this, you've got access to it.
Awesome. That's a perfect segue too, Mary, into our next guest, which is Bill Cates, because he was also recently added to the Mentor Portal. Thank you so much, Mary. This
Absolutely.
program, thanks for everything you've been doing with it. Very cool.
You're welcome.
Yeah. And so Bill, switching gears a little bit, he was also added to our Mentor Portal, which I'm so grateful for. I've been following him and a big fan for years. And so he teaches the VIPS method. Uh-oh, we got Bill drinking a little too early in the day, I think. What's up, Bill? Wake up, buddy. You're on camera now.
You got yourself on mute still. You're on mute,
You're
Bill.
still on mute. He really is drunk.
I said I was a hunter.
Joking.
Well, I told the folks that got me on, I'll stay on until I start slurring my words.
Awesome. Great entry. Thanks for joining us, Bill. So Bill's going to be at our Mastermind Collegium next week talking about his new book and give a quick just 60-second preview on what radical relevance is, Bill, and what people will learn about in your session at the Mastermind next week.
Good, and it's a good segue from what you guys have been talking about. So I'll hold the copy of the book up, and the subtitle says it all: sharpen your marketing message, cut through the noise, win more ideal clients. So first of all, you guys were talking about hunter, farmer, something else. I'll add one, and that's trapper. A trapper is a good marketer. A trapper is someone who brings people into their business without having to hunt much. And it doesn't mean that there isn't still some prospecting, hunting, whatever. You got to take them out of the trap and skin them. And no, we won't go there. But it's about bringing people in. I think I found in this industry that most people get taught how to prospect somewhere along the way, right? Even the referral things I teach, it's kind of a prospecting thing where we're being proactive, we're moving forward, we're trying to find more people, and nothing wrong with that. Prospecting will always be a part of this business. And if we can have the right message and the right market and the right mix of all of that, then we can start to attract people. So I'm going to actually share some examples of how advisors have created actually national reputations for their business. Now, you don't have to do that, but what they've done is created that so people are calling them. And you guys also use the term right fit advisor in the book, and in the session next week, I'm going to use the term right fit client. And that's what we want, right? When you get to a certain level of your business, you don't want just anybody anymore. You want as close to the possible right fit, perfect client as you can get. And the clearer you are on what that is, clear intentions produce clear results, vague intentions produce vague results, right? So the clearer you are on that, the more likely you're going to say the right things and do the right things that are going to attract those people into your business. That's a lot about what the book's about, radical relevance, and what we'll be talking about in the the collegium. Is it Caligula? I get confused. Sorry, I've been drinking.
You can't call it whatever you want, Bill. You're in that right, the godfather of referrals.
All right, brother. We'll have fun, that's for sure.
Yeah, you're going to have to, and I'm excited for you to at least virtually meet the head of the other families, right? Of the other mafia family, John Del Greco, also a godfather of referrals. So I think I'm excited for the two of you guys to actually meet. We'll make sure we'll throw you in some of the brainstorm breakout rooms, because we're doing, I think, 4 of those throughout the day, and then we do a final one that's a debrief, a larger one at the end of the day. But we're trying to emulate, make a live experience as much as we can. So after each major kind of section and presentation, we're doing these brainstorm breakouts where we go into small groups of 6 or 8 people, and similar you would at a coffee break or a cocktail reception or anything else, you get to kind of, you know, just pair up with some of your friends. We haven't allowed them to request people that they wanted to kind of get paired up with, so we're going to try to make that happen. But it's going to be really interesting to have this event virtually. I'm looking forward to it next week.
It's a great concept.
Yeah. So Dave, I know we wanted to ask Bill about how he would suggest. You go ahead, Dave. Using the bucket plan book and
the whole
BIP.
concept.
Yeah.
You know, we believe that the bucket plan book is one of the most powerful marketing tools that we all have. We know that if we send it out to a bunch of people, we're going to get a certain amount of people that are going to get interested in the process. And even if they only read the introduction to it, right, they're going to get hooked into the process and want to meet with us. And so, you know, we can send out the books to people who attend our live workshops and our virtual seminars, but what's kind of the best strategy to incorporate the book into your referral process, a referral process? What are some ideas? There's probably not a magic bullet solution, but what are some things you can think of, Bill?
Yeah, sure. So I agree with you about the introduction. I read about a third of the book this morning on the elliptical, and you know, the introduction pulled me in. I said, "This is it," and it made me wonder, what do I need to talk about to my advisor about, right? And that's always good when any question you can ask a prospect or anything you could send that creates a sense of a gap or a possible gap, that's good, because then people lean in and they're interested, and the brain automatically wants to fill the gap because the brain works that way. So I'm of the mindset that these days, while we're going to use the word referral, what we really want is an introduction, right? You know, the old referred lead, call George, use my name. Well, George doesn't answer his phone. George's wondering why his friend gave his name out that this guy doesn't know, or gal. And so we want to get introduced. We want to get connected. The best way to get connected is in person, if you can make it happen. If it fits, if it's logical, if the logistics don't get in the way of the enthusiasm of the introduction. Well, we don't have that right now, at least with the pandemic going on. So a few thoughts around the book. I think if you have some advocates, people you know are talking about you, and you know, we can talk about how to create those some other time, but if you know you have people that are out there talking about you, then you want to give them an inventory of books. You want to give them 3 or 4. I want Jason to sit there in front of a ball game when ball games come on and just autograph a slew of these things. You know, best wishes to your success, whatever. And so there are autograph versions, and the day Jason dies, it'll be worth twice as much with his signature on it, because we hope that doesn't happen for a while. But nonetheless, so they can give a book out, but we got to make sure.
So instead of $10, it'll be worth 20.
Well, if they got it free in the mail, then it's worth twice of that. You know?
Nice.
So if you've got a client who gives it to a prospect, then you got to make sure that client knows to tell you that they've done that, right? That this is part of the introduction process, that word of mouth is nice, word of mouth with the book is nice, but that's not enough. We got to get connected, so that you teach these people how to do it and how to give the book out, et cetera. And you teach them to say, look, if you only read a part of it, just read the introduction. You'll be intrigued, I know. And I'll have, you know, Dave, I'll have Rob, I'll have somebody, you know, reach out to you. So that's one great way. If you're talking to a client about the introduction, and you say, you know, Jason, let's talk about how you introduced me to Laura. Let's come up with an approach that feels comfortable for everybody and at least piques their interest. And here's what I found. If you could, you know, do a little email handshake and introduce me with an email handshake, one of the things I'll do is I'll respond quickly and I'll offer to send a copy of the book as a part of the introductory process. And oh, that's great. I love the book. Yeah, but you'll send that to them for free? Yeah, absolutely. And so I prefer not to have to wait for the book to arrive to get the introduction going. I want to get the introduction going. I want to capture the momentum. But But realistically, by the time the introduction goes out, you reach out, hopefully the same day, you schedule a brief phone call. Depending on where they are, it's possible the book might arrive before that phone call, but even if it doesn't, you can still talk a little bit about what the book covers. You can start to talk a little bit about the bucket plan. So that's another way to use the book.
I love that.
I always like to make the thing as personal as possible. And another thing is centers of influence, guys, gals, CPAs, attorneys. That's another program we'll do for you down the road, cracking the code to how do you get referrals from those folks and giving them a book that they appreciate, that they read. First of all, they don't know as much about this stuff as you do. And so the book will educate them, might even intrigue them in becoming a client. Now you have a CPA who's a client, but also introducing you to their clients. That's gold. And so using the book with centers of influence in different ways could be a possibility. If a center of influence does read the book and likes the book and says, "Hey, this is good," then you can think of educational opportunities with this center of influence, right? Bringing you in to talk to some of their clients, and you could promise a copy of the book to everybody. And so that's another way. You just got to think, how does this book interface with everything that I'm doing, right? How can the book play a part in this? Does it play a part in this? Does it play a part in this? If it's a big program or high rollers, so to speak, a lot of whales in the room, heck, maybe Jason will get on and do 10 minutes of, like I'm doing here.
For sure. I would do that. Yeah.
Right. Another way to leverage the author. I've done that a lot over the years. And people are go, "Rally, would you really do that?" And I'll go, "Yeah, I'll do that." I had a huge licensing deal with Ameriprise for years, and it started with that. I sent somebody a copy of an audio tape. Some of you may remember audio tapes. Some of you aren't old enough. But he says, "I got to report on this audio." Yeah, I got to report on this audio tape to my team. I said, "Well, when are you doing that?" "Would you like me to call in for 10 minutes?" Oh, man. And that started like a 5-year huge agreement with Ameriprise just from doing that. They were American Express at the time. But anyway, so just thinking with that attitude of leverage, how do we leverage the book? How do we get it in more hands?
And Bill, if anyone wants Jason to do it, he loves doing them on Friday nights and early Saturday mornings.
Yes, I
perfect.
Detect some sarcasm. So I don't know. That's what comes to me.
Those were great. I love the what'd you say, email handshake, right?
Yeah,
and then offer to give the book.
Yeah.
And offer and say, "I'd love an email handshake," and I'll quickly respond, that if they'd like a free copy of the book, that'd be fantastic. And I've said this a couple times through the years, but what's so powerful about the book, and Dan Sullivan taught me in the Strategic Coach, was the first time I remember hearing it. But what's powerful about it is, as financial advisors, we start out, most of us, selling something, selling a product or selling a portfolio. We're selling insurance or investments for the most part, right? And as financial advisors, that's how. Yeah, but initially we started out, most of us, selling specifically insurance or investments. But then, to your point, Bill, what happens as you evolve is you start to realize if I sell the plan, then the plan will sell the insurance and investments for me. So I'm better off to sell the plan. So then you make the transition of now you're selling the plan and you're more, which is beautiful because then the plan sells the products and portfolios for you.
If I could piggyback on that, you're absolutely right. And the plan also is what makes you more referable. It's the process. Now, look, a right fit product could conceivably make you referable, right? If you pick an annuity that just does some magical thing for that client that they love, all right, that's something that somebody might talk about. But generally speaking, it's the process that you go through, right? And so anyone who is doing planning kind of in the way you describe in the book, they're automatically ahead of the game in terms of becoming more referable more quickly. And so you make it about that. You don't have to wait for an investment to do anything. You don't have to wait for any product. You just have to get people thinking in ways they haven't thought before, and bam, you're referable. They want other people to go through that process. So no question about that.
Yep. That was fantastic. And, and I feel like what happens when you start to,
I was going to just say, John Dodge shared, Jason, your book can be worth thousands per client or prospect as long as they read it. So, and he also said you do have a Crown Royal face mask coming. It's shipped. You just haven't. You're probably out at the lake or something. So
thank you so much. I am. This morning, man, I just needed to get out here and look at the water for a minute. So I drove out. It's an hour drive, and just a couple minutes staring at the water rejuvenates me. Back on, this evolution, right, of selling products and portfolios to selling planning that sells the products and portfolios for you, to then getting at a point where you start distributing, the book then starts selling the planning, and then ultimately you facilitate the planning, that sells the products and portfolios. But leveraging that book has made an unbelievable difference, I know, in my practice. And I've heard an unbelievable several dozens of success stories of advisors that are leveraging it the right way to grow their business, because it's third-party credibility. It sells the process for you.
Exactly. That's what I wanted to say. It's you can say anything you want, and it's good, and they'll believe you if they trust you, and all that. It's good stuff. And when someone else kind of validates it or says it in a slightly different way, or gets them intrigued, and then you come in and explain it a little bit more, maybe a little more clearly, and make it specific to their situation, right? Then all the better. So I think it's a great tool. I'm actually probably going to buy a bunch of them and start sending them to other advisors as a way to introduce them to your mastermind. So that'll, that's down the road. I think it's a great idea.
Bill.
Here's what I like about the book.
I know a guy that can get you a discount on them.
I bet. Well, here's what I like about the book is I've read a lot of books that are very technical in nature, and even advisors struggle sometimes reading it. And then I've read some other books that are more simple. Like, for instance, The Wealthy Barber, I think, is a great book. It explains compounding. It's great for teenagers, and I've sent that to my nieces and nephews and all that. So, and even an adult should read it. But this is a tweener, right? This is in between. This is easy to understand, not overly technical. Yeah, they may have to read a couple of sentences over twice, but generally speaking, it's very accessible to a lot of people. So, and I'm not getting paid to say this, by the way, guys. I'm just drunk to say it. That's all.
That's it. That's it.
4 Roses, single barrel, highly referable.
I was drinking that a couple.
That's a beautiful bottle.
That's good stuff there.
It is.
Yeah. I'm waiting on somebody to send me a bottle. I want to try that.
Is it legal?
Now that I'm throwing out requests, right? I get a mask from John.
Face mask, bottles of bourbon. You name it.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Bill. Greatly appreciate it. Yeah.
Well, we have just an open line. Any questions for Bill? In the chat box, go ahead and chat it. Hey, Jason, Jeanette's got a question for you, not regarding this, but from the previous, while we give Bill a minute to see if anybody has questions.
I was going to say, I apologize we didn't open up for questions for Mary, but I should be able to field. Yeah.
Yeah, she said, is there an assessment for existing staff to determine who's best suited for what role?
Yes, and her name is Gina Pellegrini, but Gina actually does. Yeah, Bill, you may not know this. She's one of our business partners. She's
I know
original.
He's on Whiskey Wednesday with us.
I didn't
right
know if
now.
you did that.
Hey, Jason, Gina was my first strategic coach. Well, she was my strategic coach. That's where I met Gina.
No way.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Many years ago. Is she on tonight?
Gina's on here.
She's on. Yeah, she's on.
Gina, turn your camera on and say hi real quick. And then, but while you're asking Jeanette's question, I was going to say unless you're in a robe, but if you're in a robe, definitely turn your camera. No, just kidding. But Dave, so Gina, though, in all seriousness, has a process she's taken my staff through, where she does exactly that. It's the Colby analysis, What's up, Gina? And it ties perfectly into the responsibility agreement, which is a book that Gina and I co-authored called The Hiring Advantage. So what's up, Gina?
Hey.
Oh, you're on mute.
Am I muted?
Oh, there. No, we can hear you now.
Yeah,
No,
you're
we
good.
can hear you now. Yeah.
So I think it was 20 years ago that you were in coach with me, Bill.
I mean, we're getting all kinds of "we love Gina's" in the chat box right now.
Well,
That's awesome.
well, you don't look like you've aged a day. Me, on the other hand, we won't talk about that.
So Gina,
It's great.
tell Jeanette about what you can do on the team assessment, like what you did with my practice of making people in the right seats, right seats on the bus, right? Now the
I don't
whiskey's
have people
kicking in.
answer for that. You can just call me and I will help in any way I can.
Yeah, that Colby assessment though, and it really does fit perfectly with the whole concept of the responsibility agreement. I mean, they gotta go hand in hand.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'll do whatever I can to help.
What are you
And
drinking, Gina, before you go?
I'm not drinking anything. I was watching Perry Ann and I've been listening to you guys and I finally got to sit down and then you're like, Gina, get on the video. I'm like, okay.
Well, thank you for quickly joining, watching your grandniece. Yeah.
I'm gonna crack open some wine. I'm not a whiskey person.
all right.
Love you guys.
And guys,
Cheers.
thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to the collegium. I think I got a good program, and I'm excited. I'm loving working with you guys. And if anybody has any questions, I am on Mentor Connect. So I've done 3 or 4 Mentor Connect sessions already, and I love it. So
Awesome.
happy to help.
That's great. Definitely.
As is Gina.
Yep.
Yeah, as is
Gina's
Gina.
on-
She's on there
Gina's
too.
on Mentor, C2P Mentor Connect. I was just talking with somebody today, and mastermind member, and they haven't used it that much. Highly recommend. You got these rock stars in the industry that you can go to tap into for 30-minute calls. So take advantage of that.
We can get a lot done in 30 minutes, especially if we narrow what we're trying to work on. It's been pretty good. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
thanks, guys. My wife's making dinner, and she wants me sober for dinner. So thank you for this. I'm always open to coming on sometime down the road. Thanks.
All right. We'll see you next week.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Take care, Bill. Thanks for
Yep.
joining. All right. Dave, before we run out of time, we better give a marketing update, huh? This is like rapid fire today. I'm like, we can't even look, right? I feel like the pace is just flying. It's cool,
Yeah,
though. Well, you know what? Maybe we should answer any questions, Dave, if any did come in.
We don't have any.
Are we
right
good?
now. We're good.
Okay, good. There was another poll, but was there? Did we have a
Yep.
third poll? Maybe.
Compensation. How confident are you in your firm's compensation policy? You want to launch that one real quick?
Yeah, let's do it because it ties into this whole career path conversation and just what we're doing with our non-advisor employees as well as our advisor rung, the 5 rungs in the advisor career path. But how are we compensating them, right? How are we incentivizing them? How are we attracting, retaining, and rewarding top talent, regardless if they're an advisor or an internal team member, a non-advisor team member? How important is that to you, right? Because this helps us to understand where we should spend our time and effort. And this is one of the programs we spent some time and effort on, and may spend more.
So we got about half the participants are voting. Either half of them have checked out by now, or we still have everyone logged in. So go ahead and cast your vote quick. And we're at about 46% right now. Very confident, somewhat confident, or not confident at all.
Okay. So it's probably a priority too of where we spend our time and effort on.
Looks to be that way.
Based on this feedback.
About half say they're somewhat confident. So 76% said very confident to somewhat confident.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. Should we have Rob join us?
Yeah, Rob, you there?
Yeah, hey guys. Thanks for having me back on.
Hey, yeah,
Good to
thanks for
see
coming.
everybody again. I was thinking about my role on these calls, and I'm basically the guy who just kind of reads numbers from a spreadsheet. So I was thinking about like just reading from the phone book and see if anybody even notices.
You should do it in song form. It would make it more.
There you go. I like it.
Sing and dance. Do it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, thanks. So, as I indicated last week, we actually took last week off, intentionally. Brian, who does the webinar for us, actually took a couple of really well-deserved days off last week. So what I wanted to do today was kind of drill down further into the Weathering the Storm campaign that we've done, because we've done 3 of these now so far, and just kind of provide these numbers in the aggregate to everybody, so that we just share our experience with everybody as well. So again, we've done it 3 times. In fact, we're going to do one more tomorrow that we're excited about. But so in the aggregate, we've had 134 total registrants across all 3. So it's an average 45 registrants. We've had 107 attend total, so an average of 36 attending these. And of the 134 total registrants, 107 of those were clients. And then 27 of those were actually prospects of the registrants, right? So we had 107 attend, 90 of those were clients, 17 of those were prospects that attend. So, we're happy with those numbers. 17 new prospects, new people to get in front of. Yeah.
Rob, let me restate just to make sure I heard you right. So,
yeah.
Let me see, 27 new prospects, because I know Mary asked that last week.
Registered.
So I wanted to make sure I get this. So we got 27 referrals off of this email campaign and webinar that we did. And so far, because we're going to be following up with everybody doing the VIPS referral method. So 27 referrals, and 17 of those referrals got on the webinar.
Yep.
Is that right? And out of those, what happened with those 17? And then we'll flip back over to the clients. I didn't mean to interrupt,
absolutely. So they turned into 8 right fit calls right now of the 17. So, but I'm still coordinating the sales team to get the first appointment numbers. Don't have those for you today, but those 17 turned into 8 right fit calls. So a pretty decent percentage there as well. Yep.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's good for sending out emails to your existing client base and jumping on a webinar talking about the planning that you've already done. This is the Weathering the Storm campaign and entire process that we put together for everyone. And Dave, you were involved in that. I mean, it's got everything, right? It's got the email templates, it's got the scripts, it's got, I don't know what else. It's got everything.
It's got a complete turnkey system.
The webinar.
Yep, absolutely. Very easy to follow. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah. And then for prospects, we had 100, or we had 90, or not clients. I'm sorry. We had 90 clients show up.
Yep.
And then the whole next step of that is we're doing the follow-up phone calls to do the VIPS method to ask for referrals with all those clients, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So those resulted in 29 VIPS conversations. And then from those 29 conversations, we were able to get 12 referrals from there so far. So it's still continuing to be ongoing, but right now we got 12 referrals from that. So, but we're obviously it was great to have Bill on. We've taken advantage of his program. All of our advisors are going through that. So, just as they become more comfortable with it and educated on Bill's really excellent referral program, that number will continue to rise as they become more skilled in requesting referrals. Yeah.
Awesome. Any questions, Dave, from anybody? Perfect, Rob. Yeah, stay for one moment in case anybody's got any
on a social
questions.
security webinar from Carl Wolf.
I'm sorry, what was
yeah, it wasn't for you, but really, Rob, it was just more in general on a Social Security webinar, and that's in the works. So one of the things, Carl, that we've seen just from experience of collaboration amongst a group of our offices that have been doing a bunch of marketing to test this stuff out, So Richard James' office, Down Chamberlain's office, J.L. Smith Group. We've done an incredible amount of marketing. And what we've seen is there's two things that are selling right now. It's death and debt, because the media is selling it for us. And so when we talk about death, the estate planning webinars are having huge registration and attendance numbers. When we talk about debt, we're seeing taxes and retirement having big registration numbers and attendance. And so those have been our top two priorities, because let's go with, go with the flow basically of what's already being sold for us in the media. It's those two topics, but Social Security is our third priority. We did weathering the storm first to go after our existing client base, to reinforce the planning that we did, and to get referrals from our existing clients. Anybody who's not done that yet, you really want to do that weathering the storm campaign. You just heard some fantastic early numbers, and we were just getting started. But then it's the estate planning, taxes, and retirement. And then the next priority is the Social Security webinar that we're working on. Yeah. Great. Well, thanks, Rob. Appreciate you joining us again, as always.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Take care. All right, Dave, what do we got?
We're rounding home now. We got about 3 minutes left. So, if there's any questions, I know some of the stuff we're going to spend some time talking about on the next one that we do is just kind of that pre and post webinar process. Best practices to make sure your registrations convert to attendees, and then best practices to make sure your attendees are converting to financial services opportunities. And so we're going to be sharing a lot of best practices there, but certainly don't have time in 2 minutes to start diving into that. So
I tell you what, though, we're going to have amazing content in 2 weeks from now based on the Mastermind Collegium. So I can't wait for the Whiskey Wednesday in 2 weeks from now. And you guys stay thirsty for those of you who will not be at the Mastermind Collegium. And for those of you who are interested, at this point, it's probably a little bit too late, but definitely reach out to us for those of you who are not part of the Mastermind group, because we'd love to talk to you and see if it might be a right fit. And other than that, I think it's time to sign off. Thanks. Good to see you, Dave, virtually. Looking forward to seeing you in person soon.
Yeah, all right. I'm looking forward to going and sitting outside in the backyard and having another whiskey.
Yeah, take care. Bye, everybody.